I have so many memories with Avery, my ex-wife, that it's impossible to just erase them from the story of my life. We first met when I was 22 and she was 20 through a group of mutual friends. She was my first real love, not counting the fleeting crushes back in school. Our relationship quickly became serious, and soon we made it official. A year later, we welcomed our son into the world. We spent more than 2 decades together, truly soulmates. In fact, just last year, we celebrated our porcelain wedding anniversary with a grand party at a restaurant. All of our friends and family congratulated us with genuine warmth, wishing that we would share another 40 years together. At that moment, I believed it too. But, as life often teaches us, things don't always go as planned. So, to give you a clearer picture of the situation, let me share how people saw our family from the outside. Among friends and acquaintances, I was known as a devoted father and the ideal family man. I was faithful to Avery, and to be honest, most of my time was consumed with work. I worked hard to provide for my family because I wanted them to have everything they needed. Through determination, hard work, and a knack for business, I was able to build a reputation for myself, meet the right people, and eventually start my own small law office. Avery was once an energetic and ambitious woman. When we first met, she worked as a sales manager for a large supermarket chain. But after maternity leave, she did not want to return to her previous job. Instead, she decided to open a beauty salon, and I helped her find investors through my connections. Things went well for a while, but after the crisis, the salon had to be closed due to financial losses. This defeat took a heavy toll on her, and she fell into a deep depression. She gave up her dreams and began to pay more attention to the house. To be honest, I didn't force her to come back to work. In recent years, our relationship had become stable, but lacked the passion it once had. Our son grew up, and at 18, I handed him the keys to his new apartment. I thought it was time for him to start building his own life and become independent. He's a serious young man, focused on his studies, so I wasn't worried about letting him go. But after he moved out, Avery became increasingly depressed. She would often tell me that she felt like she had lost herself and was trapped in the monotony of household life. Around the same time as everything I mentioned, a young guy named Liam started working in my office as a junior lawyer. During the interview, I immediately realized that he had big career plans. At that time, he had only 3 years of work experience under his belt, and his self-confidence was off the scale. Oh, what ambitions! It was hard not to notice. I don't know exactly when Avery met him, but I suspect it was at a New Year's corporate party that year when all the employees brought their soulmates. Liam stayed with my wife all evening, flirting, complimenting her, asking her to dance. That's it. I saw it happening, but I just laughed it off, thinking, a little harmless flirting will do Avery good. She'll love it. But after that party, something in Avery seemed to shift. She became more lively, more upbeat, and started taking better care of herself, new hairstyle, new dresses, and hitting the gym. She told me she was tired of being stuck at home, doing nothing, and that she wanted to bring some color back into her life. I thought, well, that's great. Everyone needs a change sometimes. But then, over time, I started noticing some odd shifts in her behavior. She had never shown much interest in my work before, aside from the usual, "How was your day?" during dinner, but suddenly she started asking questions about my business, even popping into my office now and then under different pretexts. And then she began raving about how smart and hard-working Liam was. "He's got such potential," she'd say. "It would be great to give him a promotion." I couldn't help but feel a sense of jealousy creeping in. It wasn't just her praise of Liam. It was the way she started acting like she was invested in my business, something she'd never cared about before. So one evening, I decided it was time for a serious talk. I confronted her with my suspicions, but she just looked at me, eyes wide, denying everything. "I'm just doing all this for you," she said. "I want to look good for you, not be just a stay-at-home wife sitting around." She turned the conversation so smoothly that I ended up feeling like a fool. It seemed like things settled down after that, but the doubts I had didn't go away. It was pure coincidence that finally helped me get to the truth. One Saturday morning, Avery was in a hurry, heading to the beauty salon, and asked to borrow my phone because her app wouldn't load properly. She called a taxi, tossed the phone onto the sofa, and rushed out of the apartment. I didn't think much of it at first, but 15 minutes later, I picked up the phone and saw the destination. I thought, what an idiot, Avery. The address wasn't a beauty salon at all. It was somewhere I recognized. I quickly closed the app and called my secretary to check Liam's personal file. It took a few minutes, but she came back with the information that the address in the residence section of Liam's file was the exact same one the taxi had just gone to. My heart sank. I immediately dialed Avery's number. She picked up after what felt like an eternity. Her voice was strange, tight, almost forced, and she said she'd be at the salon for another hour before heading home. I didn't waste any more time. I drove straight to the address I knew, parking nearby to wait. I'll spare you the gory details of what happened when they showed up. But let me just say this. The look on Avery's face when she walked out, arm in arm with her young lover, and saw me standing there, it was priceless. As for the aftermath, I'll keep it short. We had a pretty intense confrontation, and in the end, I decided to divorce her, despite her constant begging for forgiveness. I agreed to split the apartment into 2 separate units, mostly because of our son. After all, she's his mother, no matter what. I handed her the keys and told her, "If you love Liam so much, you're welcome to live with him. I won't stand in your way." Predictably, after I left work that day, Liam lost all interest in her. He only ever cared about his own goals, and once he got what he wanted, he dropped her like a hot potato. What he didn't know was that my wife's word meant nothing, and I'm the one who makes the decisions around here. In the end, he ruined his own reputation, and now he's going to have to work hard to rebuild it if he ever wants to work in this field again. Not so long ago, I accidentally bumped into Avery at a local store. She was sitting at the cash register and looked completely lost, as if she hadn't slept for several days. But, of course, she provided everything for me, in her own way, like a saint. Everything was ready for me, while I was working hard to somehow make ends meet. And, of course, I admit that I played a role in what went wrong. I didn't pay enough attention to it. But nevertheless, this is not a reason to just leave. It could have been handled differently. We could have talked things through. At the very least, we could have gone to a family therapist, tried to fix things together. But instead, she was left with nothing, not even love, and certainly no money. It's sad, really.